Dude, you have an awesome parrot over there. It's a parrot, right?
It's a parakeet. Yeah,
Parakeet.
the Quaker monk parakeet. Yeah,
Cool.
there's actually like a bunch of them that live wild in Brooklyn,
Oh,
like Greenwood
really?
Cemetery, like southern Brooklyn. Yeah, there's like a big flock of them.
And you got one
I
of
haven't
them.
seen
He
it yet,
took
but
away from his
apparently they have like
family.
this huge nest over the entrance to the cemetery.
Holy crap. That's
Yeah,
That's
cool. I didn't even
insane.
know that.
yeah.
Okay. Um, Usually you have like a walk-in entrance or something. Let me do that. Let me just do this.
He
Hello,
takes it
one
to
and
its
all. I was trying to create a cheesy entrance, and I think that I accomplished it. So, today we are gonna start 1K to 1 mil challenge. Well, actually, we started it one trading day ago, which was Friday. So I've had this account, and you guys know that I've been wanting to do the 1K to 1 mil challenge. But one of the main problems that I've had is if I do record this, it never gets edited because I hate editing. And I have a friend in Orlando that wants to take that on, and the account had grown, gone through a lot of things, so it's more or less discarded, not really focused on by me. I figured last week that let me go ahead and bring it down towards 1K because I think I'd gotten it to 5K. I took 4K out to put it back at 1K so that we can start and I can show you specifically every single week the journey of an account that we're taking from $1,000 to $1 million doing dynamic options trading with full transparency. So I wrote the tweet that I sent out was Mondays at 8 p.m. human time, which is New York time, 5 p.m. La La Land time, which is LA time. Everybody knows the times. We will again begin and go over the 1K to 1 mil challenge. Everyone is welcome to join in on Discord as we discuss all things trading related as we go over strategies real time. I believe we can turn 1K to 1 mil, but doing so is not as simple as a quick one liner. I believe we can turn 1K to. Well, I read that again. We will teach options trading, show the math behind every step of every trade, make no distinction between failing and winning trades, because the only thing that matters is full and utter transparency. We want you to be able to follow along, knowing the risk inherent, and learn while doing so. Most importantly, this class, podcast, strategy session, whatever it is that you want to call it, will be recorded and posted on YouTube, for the goal remains the same. Teach the poor, the disenfranchised, the minorities, that they can break out of their circumstances. You do not need to begin with wealth to make wealth, but you do need discipline and patience. Let's make 1K to 1 mil, for if we fail, we lose 1K. But if we make it, we prove Wall Street wrong and shake the net. I know it can be done because I've done it before. I have a previous video that we're going to edit down to more or less explain my history, so I don't want to go through that right now. What I am is a trader that's been trading full time since I was 18 years old. This is not my regular setting, I'm on vacation. So I rented a ranch over here but I will be back in LA tomorrow actually. So let's dive right into what it is that we did. And let me first introduce you to a couple of friends of mine. We have Duke. Say hi, Duke.
Hello.
We have Duke in there. We have Dash.
Howdy.
And there are a couple of people from Traders Playground. So over here, you're going to see Traders Playground. Let's see. Where do I have Traders Playground? Right there. Let's move this guy over here. So Traders Playground is a tiny little chat room with only a few traders. We've been trading in there for decades. Do you know how much I've been charging everybody that's in my room? Zero. But that way I can double the rate every once in a while. Because if you're a good trader, you know one thing. Trading is a very lonely sport. And it is a sport. It's full contact. It's complicated. We're getting hit by the Fed. We're getting hit by interest rates. We're getting hit by manipulation, by shorters, by short covering, by all kinds of things, by circumstances, and just by time. It's very difficult to predict movements. My strength is in being very consistent in larger thesis. So let's dive right into our recent trades. So Duke posted a link. And let me look at that link right now from Twitter. This declining trend line has held true since September 2020. And if we break it here, then 186 next drop and beyond. That we're set for an easy pass. And then after that, we're set for an easy pass into 200. You can see it here on my screen. And that right there was posted at 7:28 a.m. on the 18th. So not too long ago. Let's go ahead and look here on the chart. What happened? Less than a week later. I'm going to go ahead and let you guys see the chart. And I'm going to post it in the playground for in case any of you are in the playground. 186.42, I believe, is the most important fib of the year, right here. And you can see I'm moving this out of the way. You can see it has held true as a critical point for well over a year. It was a bearish extension that we drew when we first had that big decline off the all-time highs. We had a bounce, and that set the tone, and we used a 61.8% fib extension. We're not teaching technical analysis here, but what we are doing, let's go ahead and look and see how perfectly this held as a declining trend line. Now, once we did break out of this declining trend line. Let's look this on a daily. So you can see that one day we did break out of it. And we stayed above it for a full 3 days. And then we came back below. After that, we were unable to go ahead and break through it. Now let's go ahead and look at this down to even a 5-minute to really zoom in. Usually, I'll have my 6K display. This is a lot easier than doing it from a... 15-minute from a laptop screen, but this is probably better for YouTube since not all of you guys have, $10,000 monitors. So you can see that this declining trend line continued to hit again and again and again, all the way down. I'm gonna go to create a quick. You guys have seen the chart. As soon as we broke out of here, I believe that 186.42 was next. And as you can see, today we hit 186.42. We found some resistance, and we did what I think might be a wick, and then we come back to it, or we have straight continuation. Why is it that I'm bullish on Tesla now when you guys know I was very bearish when some other people were very bullish on Tesla at 400? It's because of a thesis. I have a very good understanding of Tesla because I waited years for Tesla to become public, put my life savings into Tesla at $16 pre-split, at the 5-for-1 and 3-for-1, that's the equivalent of $1 today. So Tesla has made me an enormous amount of money. I knew the future was electric when I saw a YouTube video in 2006 that showed this go-kart looking thing that beat a Ferrari. I knew that was the future, but you had to start on the high end, work your way down. Tesla's doing just that. They are now the best-selling car in California. Is a Tesla, but they're about to. They showed off on Investor Day a car that they are able to produce at half the price of the current offering. This will be at the price range of the introduction car. That thing that everybody can afford. And do understand, these are cars without maintenance. I'm not saying that Tesla is not just a well-priced car. It is by far the best car in the world. My buddy, I recently did a little road trip because I needed to go to know what the experience was. And I went to see Duke, in Colorado Springs. I have a little bit of a Runny nose. I am so sorry.
Should have asked to drive it. I don't know why that didn't pop into my head. I
You
definitely should
should have
have
driven it. But
behind the
what
wheel.
was it like?
But I was definitely impressed. Right outside my house, we have kind of a banked turn, and sure enough, it takes the turn all by itself with no like you know herky jerkiness or pivoting or braking
Oh,
or
you're talking
hitting.
about the full self driving because I drove from. I did. Sorry to cut you off. I did a road trip because I wanted to go and find out for myself if this was what it was like, from Los Angeles to Chicago and back. On the way back, I stopped by Duke's place. The car drove itself there. On the expressway, it's brilliant. They took away my full self driving on the regular streets, so you weren't able to go ahead and get a good sense of the regular streets. Even though you saw that, that is nothing
Mhm.
compared to the way the full self driving is. I was talking
Wow.
about the performance.
Well, that I've driven Teslas before, but I've never taken my hands off a wheel and had a car actually take a bank for me before.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. But I didn't feel nervous about it at all. I didn't hesitate to get in your car or anything like that. And I am pretty old school still, so when I see new technology, especially in cars, it's like I want to be the driver. We're all sports car drivers here,
Yeah.
um, so we like our hot rods and our classics
How do you think
and
the
so,
performance is on my car versus yours?
uh, better 0 to 60 and off the line just because it's electric, of course.
Bottom line is, um, these things perform like performance vehicles. I believe that they're better in every way, shape, or form versus everything else out there.
Yeah, they are pound for pound.
Yeah, pound for pound, they just obliterate everything else out there. I don't know how to go and put this back to that. Now,
I would buy a new Mercedes, that's for sure. But I wouldn't trade mine in just yet for a Tesla. But yeah, I wouldn't. I would
it
definitely
it
choose a
it,
Tesla.
it outperforms the new Mercedes. I promise you that. You're
Hmm.
never gonna be able to get that handling that you can get with Tesla because the weight is below you. It drives like a mid-engine car. Like I've driven the F1 and all these things and owned sports cars. It's amazing. I mean,
Hmm.
but it's not only about that. We're talking about a car that you never have to do any maintenance on. Zero. You know, it's the only maintenance that it's going to be is going to be the tires, and you have to go and change the windshield wiper fluid. That's about it. It changes the paradigms of what you expect from a car. Now, the reason why I was bearish at 400 when everybody else was bullish is that they were looking at this company that was exploding in size. It was making more and more money, and then the bulls came out in force. Now, the PE, the reason why I was bearish at 400, Tesla had failed on everything back then, believe it or not. All the major things that equated that insane PE, it had failed on. And what I mean by that is they were supposed to go and come out with a semi several years ago. It didn't come out. They were supposed to come out with full self-driving years ago, like at this level that we are now, but it didn't. Continue to have delays. They were supposed to come out with. I did very early on. I think it was the second day that, or the day. I think it was the day after the announcement of the Cybertruck. Saw it live. Was amazed. I don't even know why I didn't put down the down payment right away, but I ended up doing it just later. And so I'm at the very beginning of the list. I've been waiting years. It's been delayed by 2 years now. I got tired of waiting, and that's why I bought the Tesla that I'm driving now. They have failed on all the things that that can truly give Tesla the PE that it has, because it's valued more than all other companies put together. So I was expecting, and plus I know from trading Apple. Remember, I'm the guy who told people to buy Apple when Steve Jobs got rehired, and I was at the Moscone Center in San Francisco when Steve Jobs held out the first iPhone, and I told the world to buy them. And I knew that day only two things, that BlackBerry was dead and Apple would be the most valuable company in the world. What I know is, I don't know how to go and put this back into 4 people. Oh, there we go. What I know is Tesla had those setbacks, and just like Apple after the iPhone, there's always something that creates a reevaluation, that creates a pushback. And our target was 120, 125 since 2 years ago. When we hit those levels, we went bullish, massively bullish. And then we hit the 108 area. I think it was, and we had a level. I believe that we hit one. I forget what the exact low was on Tesla. Let's go and look at the chart.
It was like 101.
101. Let's go ahead and look at the 101. So here we're gonna come back in time.
I looked at the timestamps from that day though. I got shares as low as 106 and 59 cents.
Yes, you have shares of 106 because what happened that day. Here we're looking at 108. We continue to hold it. If we were to go and look at it from an hourly perspective, because that's a little bit in. This wasn't too long ago either. Nope.
Yeah, just 4 months now.
4 months ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
I am going way too far in the past. Here we go. Okay, we're looking at it from an hourly perspective. We continue to hold that 108 line. Every time the wind went below, we ended up coming right back to it. On the daily, this is an hourly, but on the daily, you'll see it even more. Unfortunately, I have to zoom out and zoom back in. So you can see every single candle held up the 108 area. Now, I am a huge fan of a bullish engulfing candle. That means a gap down below levels where you would think that you have a breakdown and you have a massive move. At 125, I knew that this was an insane buying opportunity. 120. I was telling everybody, let's load. At 108.75, we had a significant technical point that we were looking for, 108.79. You can see that we held this level perfectly. It bounced, it bounced, it bounced. But the day that we fell below it, I told everybody and their mom, I'm going to do something I've never done. I've been trading since I'm 18 years old. I'm 46 today. I was going to do something I have never done, which is go into margin, deep into margin. I even recommended other people to do so with me. And DJ in the room also did it. You bought at 106. That was a day that I was making phone calls to everybody personally in the playground and telling everybody, this is when we do what we never do. Because we'll never do this again. I will never go on margin as I did that day again in my life as a trader, I don't think. Because
yeah, I actually leaving my house when you called, and then I was like, all right, I turned back around and went back inside, and I sold Robinhood and Coinbase and dumped it all in Tesla. So it was a great call.
Yeah, so you removed everything because this is what we wanted. In reality, I'll be completely honest with you. This that we're doing here is extraordinarily important. 1K to 1 mil in 1 year. It's almost impossible. It's clickbait. You know? In reality, all of us have bigger accounts and we want to put it in. You know, we want to go and find that thing that we're investing into. And Tesla is the thing that I believe is where we want to invest into. Yes, I know that I've been bullish on Tesla since, 2006, before it ever became public, before it even existed. I was waiting for a company to go in this direction. But I do believe that now it's about to hit its stride. All those things that it failed on. Tesla Semi. Full self-driving. They're happening right now. If you were to go and look at the video showing FSD, it's incredible how well and human-like it's driving in the most challenging situations. And that, I believe, is key. It's not just how you handle in everyday driving. It's how you handle in the worst possible places. So let's go ahead and look at what we did with a 1K account. 1K is where we were last week, and you can look in the playground. Let's look in the playground.
Are you able to share your screen on Discord as well?
I can share it on Discord. Let me do that. I was thinking about doing that. Let me do that. Boom, boom, boom. Screen, entire screen. I should figure out what it is that I have to pay so you guys can see better resolution. So click on my thing and you can see my screen now, right?
Yep.
Cool.
Thank you.
In reality, I was just talking to everybody in the room, more or less. So here you can see our positions. We had already entered into earlier 220 calls that expire in July. That's our long-term position. We entered a singular share, which would have been $2.50 is our net entry on the 220 calls. So let's go ahead and go back into the basics for in case somebody doesn't know what an option is. An option is more or less a way that you can bet. You can bet that this option can get to a certain price or above within a certain time period. If you're wrong in that bet, it goes to zero. Now, one option controls 100 shares of stock. So if you're buying it at $1, it costs you $100 to go and make that transaction because it's a vehicle. Now, people were not expecting Tesla to be able to go and get to 220 when we were entering this position. They were not thinking that this was a possibility. So when I entered in, as you can see over here in the playground, you can go and see our current positions, the 220 calls. When we entered that, people were not expecting it to go and get to that level. So today that same option is worth $5.62. So it's roughly doubled. Not an incredible gain. You have a open gain of $312 off of something that we put $250 into. That's a singular position, but that's a big percentage gain on an $1,000 account. That's a good sizable stake. Also, what we entered into, as you can see in the playground. Okay, you guys can see my screen now on filled orders, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah.
Last week, we added 2 positions. That's it, on Friday. We do a lot of weekly options trading. So, as I told you about an option that has a certain amount till it expires. With Tesla, you have both weekly and monthly options. So you can go to make a bet on a movement that's going to happen within that week, and you're rewarded for it or you're penalized for it right away. So the way that I look at Tesla is the opposite of the way that I look at NVIDIA. In NVIDIA, if you were to go and look at my notes, because over here I literally write what it is that I've tweeted out to you guys when I made my bears bets, which have not worked out yet. I have been waiting to go bears in NVIDIA for some time, but not till now am I pulling the trigger as we approach 1 trillion evaluation. This also works as a bearish hedge on Tesla bullish positions into next week weekly options. So, as you can see over here, I did this as a post. That's why it has the dash B. It's just for a thing. Tesla next week bullish strategy was a 185 call position at $2.13. This was 2x oversized in the 1K to 1 mil account. On my main account, it was 15x. We're going to what oversized means in a little bit. But oversized for a small account, anything under 25K, I think is around $100. Every time your account doubles, it gains by 50%. So when your account gets much bigger, it's less a percentage of your actual account, but your positions. So you can do, but it's still a much larger amount that you're putting into play. So this way we can have a communication where I'm not saying, I'm putting in blah, blah, blah into this account, and my account is huge. I want this to go to be something that translates to any account size. But something as small as 1K to 1 mil, I can only do 2x because that's 20% of the count. You get me? So we positioned at a 185 call at $2.13, meaning that the option needed to get above $2 above 185 for us to go to make money as intrinsic value. Extrinsic value is the premium on people believing that this is possible. We had moved a lot already, so it seemed unlikely. I mean, it seemed very likely that we could make that move. We had already broken out of that declining trend line on Friday. This is only one trading day ago that we made that position. So it was expensive. But on the opposite end, you can do a bearish bet on puts, where you're betting that something's going to go down. We're not talking about spreads. We're talking about single straight long, which is good way for us to go and teach in the beginning, because this account is still at the point where it can't do spreads. As soon as it gets above $2,000, it can do spreads. At around $5,000, it can do butterflies. It can do much more complicated strategies. So it's good for you to learn from the beginning. So again, call bullish, put bearish. C stands for calls. P stands for puts. Call bullish, puts bearish. I believe that NVIDIA, as I said, it's approaching the 1 trillion valuation. It's right now trading, well, at that time, it was 773.53 billion market cap. Tesla's market cap is 86.2 billion. NVIDIA has a higher valuation than Tesla. That is idiotic. The price per earnings really show the difference here. So do I have the price per earnings over here? I know I posted it.
Tesla is 55 and Nvidia's 179.
So 179 for Nvidia, 55 for Tesla.
Yeah, current PE.
Current. Do understand that Tesla was worth $400 at one point. Nvidia's hitting all-time, getting close to those all-time highs again. It is riding the hype train of artificial intelligence. I see many hype trains come and go. We saw them with Bitcoins. We see them with these things. Right now, it's AI. When in reality, the real AI, the most important AI, is cars. Semi-trucks, when they're going down hills, they have to make stops because they're using up brakes, and those brake pads get extraordinarily hot. They have to, there's areas where you go to the side and they have to check the temperature because you can't continue. Can have catastrophic failures. An electric semi-truck will charge its way on its way down. It will have no heat at all because it's actually regenerating energy as it comes back down. Semis are already being distributed to Pepsi. So one of their failures now became a success. Just like many things with Tesla, it was able to do it at a later date than Elon Musk thought was possible. Full self-driving is not quite 100% there on the regular roads, but it's so damn close. I believe that by the end of this year, and we're now on the 5th month, we're going to be there. This is enormous. This is groundbreaking because people will pay $200 a month for a system that drives itself. And that means that Tesla has the margins that nobody else has. Because how do other companies make money? They sell at very low margins knowing that they're going to make money back on repairs. All these things that break down. Your transmission, Tesla doesn't have that. All these other things that are going to go through that Tesla doesn't have, they make money off of repairing this. Tesla, on the other hand, can make money. They had 30% margins. Now they're down to about 20% because they dropped their prices significantly. they can go to 0% margins and continue to grow when we get a recession. And I do believe that we're going to have a recession. So let's go ahead and look at the trade. We did an NVIDIA put position because this is full transparency. Let's go and
I
see.
just noticed too. I didn't notice this before, but I think Nvidia has earnings this week that'll fall into that option trade.
Oh, really? No. Does that?
They do.
Seriously?
I think
Yeah.
so. I think it says May 24th after market close.
Yep.
Holy
That's good.
shit. You know what? I didn't even know. I thought that the premiums were that crazy because it was just NVIDIA.
I didn't
And
even
with the
think premiums.
movement, no, mathematically, it's not even that high considering the movement that we had last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Wow. The premiums, yeah, the delta's not even that high. Holy crap. Okay, that's interesting. Goes to show you, the things that we miss. So we did a bearish bet. We did a bearish bet on NVIDIA. And that bearish bet, as you can see over here on my notes, was NVIDIA. NVIDIA has a market cap of 773.59 billion. Tesla has a market cap of 562.62 billion. It's insane to me to think that any rational market player thinks NVIDIA should be worth more than Tesla. It's in my mind idiotic. So I see this as a time to attempt bearish bets for the first time on NVIDIA at irrationally exuberant levels, knowing it can easily get to 1 trillion valuation. I do believe that it can go higher, but I have to attempt bearish bets. They are bets that I can lose. So there's something called a strangle, which means you buy a call and a put at the same time, but usually you do it with the same stock, expecting the stock to either run or fall. You lose 100% on one side, but you make more than 100% on the other side. I did something very similar, but I did it with Tesla and with NVIDIA. That position that I entered into on NVIDIA was, did I even put it? I bought Tesla, NVIDIA, no, hold on. I didn't even post it over here, so we can go ahead and look in the playground.
They were pretty similar. As Tesla 180 calls for 215 and Nvidia 380 puts for 215.
Exactly. Right around there. Yep, here we can see. Buying Tesla next week, bullish, and NVIDIA next week, bearish strategy. NVIDIA 185 or 285 puts, which is funny because one was 185 calls, the other one was 285 puts at $2.12. It has lost premium, but it hasn't lost that much, and now I understand why, because it has earnings coming up. So I'm not really down that much on that. I am not sure if I probably do want to hold that into earnings, and I'm willing to go ahead and lose that position on the infinite account. Now, what happened to the infinite account? The infinite account has gone to 1,500 so far. As you can see on the screenshots that I showed in the playground, account value is 1,517, right around, which is close today. Cash buying power 560, today's trading day, so it's around a little bit shy of $500. I was trying to go ahead and get it around 1,000 to begin this podcast. This is the beginning. You can see how within 1 week, why is it that this option is up so much? It's because of the profits that we have both on the long-term position that you can see over here, the 220 calls that are up, plus the profits that we already locked in by buying something at $2 and selling it at $5.60, 64 cents, I believe, is where we got out. So you can go ahead and look over here on the actual trades. We exited at $5.25. The same option that we entered at $2.30. Right now, it's much higher. It's worth $6.25. Did I get out early? Yes. Am I cool with that? Yes. What did I do when we got above that critical line? I have told you guys time and time again that the most important level for Tesla for this year is 186.42. We stayed around that area for a little bit and then we continued higher. I'm expecting us to possibly come back to this level because it's a very strong magnet, but there's the possibility that we have straight continuation. Why is that? Tesla has been expected to fall for some reason. And we have a lot of shorts that might be forced to cover. I had a conversation with somebody in the playground that, and many people, when we were at 100, they kept on thinking, no, we're going to buy when it's 90, which made no sense for a company that was trading at $400 just a little while ago when I was going for the first time in my life margin on Tesla position. What I can tell you is I believe that we're going to be passing 300 this year by the end of this year. That is my expectation, actually. So we can have a straight continuation here. A lot of those people that got out on Tesla never came back in. They bought into things like Nvidia. Why is it that they got out? A lot of liberals. I will admit I probably skew to the liberal side of the world. I live in LA. It's a different perspective over here on things that others. And when Elon did certain things on Twitter, a lot of liberals got out. They're the ones that were all about green energy. So that created a unique opportunity where all of these people that really liked the idea of clean energy were turned off by Elon Musk posting after the attack on Nancy Pelosi's husband a link from a white supremacist website. That's when Twitter lost half of its users. On top of that, Elon Musk bought Twitter to more or less be able to push his agenda. Now, I go back to this. I used to collect Time magazines, and there was one particular Time magazine called Titans of Industry. I've told this story so many times. But in that, it spoke about Henry Ford and how he created the middle class. He knew the future were cars, but people couldn't afford them. Now, we know him as the guy who created the middle class. He paid people much more than anybody else was making, knowing that people would give him back that money to go out and buy a car, that this was the future. It was really a scam what he did when he created Ford. But on top of that, he had an agenda. He wanted to make sure that the people that worked for his company, they had to let go of all their cultural heritage. They had to have inspections in their house if they wanted to get that extra money. He was an anti-Semite. He bought a media company of its time, which was a newspaper. He had a book published, which a lot of these people that created some of these white supremacist bombings, like the bomber and whatever, they spoke about this book. People don't talk about that. They talk about Henry Ford and buying Ford cars because they're America, right?
Good thing Elon's not that bad. I don't think, anyway.
Well, Elon is probably, it doesn't matter if he is or he's not. We don't care. He is today what whatchamacallit might have been back then. It doesn't matter. I think that the most important thing to understand is he was at that time what was tolerable in the world. Today, Elon is what is tolerable in our perspective. So a lot of people are turned off by him. This will affect car sales, but despite that, most people aren't paying attention to any of that. They know that they want a good car, and if this car keeps on getting cheaper, Elon has margins that he can cut into, and he's replacing that with something that can make more money than the car can do. He spoke recently about the car being able to possibly have 80% margins by the time it's done. It's done with a cycle because people are paying that $200 and then there's cyber taxi, which means that the car will leave and become its own driver. You think that this is impossible? Today, I tell you, we are on the cusp of this becoming a reality, of the cars becoming better than us. Cyber taxi, maybe a year or two away, but that's right around the corner. Cybertruck, that I waited for years, that kept on being delayed, is coming out by the end of this year. That is a huge deal. That means That car has more pre-orders than any car in history. Remember, the best-selling car used to be the Ford pickup trucks. This slaps the Ford pickup truck and makes it look like a little pansy.
With the Cybertruck?
Yeah, it's better in every aspect. It's just more powerful in every aspect. It can do things. You can hit it with a sledgehammer. You know, the window's practically bulletproof. These
I do have
things.
a friend who bought a new F-150 and he took it back because it was too much gas and they gave him the hybrid F-150 and he tried to take that one back too. He said he didn't like it, but he must be, I don't know, his loan situation or whatever, but he still has the hybrid.
Yeah,
He'll be
it's
stuck with that probably for a little bit.
exactly. Now imagine. I was surprised that they didn't have a supercharger up here in this national park that I was in. I am getting to a point where if a supercharger is 1 hour away, I'm blown away. And I'm right now staying in the middle of nowhere for a week because I wanted to be in the middle of nowhere. There is no cell towers here. The only way that works is over here by using, the internet inside the place, which is some weird relay system that sends it through a thing to be able to get the internet over here, which is kind of strange because they don't even have regular broadband coming into the ranch where I'm staying. And I'm complaining because I have to go about 45 minutes to a supercharger. That's what we've gotten to. Tesla superchargers are everywhere. Range anxiety has completely disappeared. And these cars started off, right now they're around, 350 mile range. We're going to 500, then we're going to 800. They're getting these road trips like the one that I did where the car drives itself. I could not make that road trip on a regular car anymore because now I've been introduced into the future. So, long story short, how do I turn 1K to 1 mil? Is by being crazy like I am. Being somebody who believes in stupid that ends up working out. Being that guy that tells people that day that Steve Jobs held out the first iPhone that it's going to be the most valuable company in the world. And I was correct. Being that guy that said when fracking became a thing that oil would fall because all of a sudden you can get 10 times the exploration for the same price. To me, it was obvious. All these things can be seen, and to me, they seem obvious, and I don't belong in Wall Street. I'm a creative dude. I'm not an MBA. I used to direct music videos. I came to LA to do film. But I'm good at this game. And I've done this from nothing and built back into what people would call a very comfortable existence. Now, somebody that looks like me, during that trip, there was a point where I drove the regular roads and I was driving through Kansas. I got stopped 4 times where a cop makes a U-turn because somebody successful, somebody with a nice car like me can't be anything but a drug dealer. This is my existence. I understand what it is like to be a minority. And
You weren't speeding in the Batmobile.
I wasn't speeding. I wasn't speeding during those regular roads. And I talked to somebody else.
Might
Have
have
you ever
never
been
seen
stopped there? And you've never been stopped.
Yeah.
It's always when they see me. When I had a white girl next to me one time, they look at her and they apologize to her. Or if she just looks at them, they let us go. It's one of those things that it's perceptions. It depends on where you're at, But what I can tell you is, if you grew up, I used to do, when you're in the music industry, I remember somebody bringing $15,000 in $1 bills. Because the way that they were trying to get out of selling literally crack was to make it in music. That is how they saw their pathway. They think that they have to go and become a baller. They have to go and be athletes or they have to sell drugs. And these are my friends because I was in the music industry. I've been around these things. There is something that's better than doing drugs. It's probably not as easy because you're guaranteed to go out and sell that stuff if you can get it to your customers. This right here takes creativity. But when you see what options can do, that within one day, this account gained by 45%. One trading day, from Friday to Monday is considered one trading day, 45%. You see that the possibility is there to turn this into much more. And that is nothing. We have had options that we buy on one day, on a Friday, at 25 cents and exit at $10. You guys have seen those. Those are when we have insane returns. The problem is with infinite account, you can't day trade. So I can't do those plays. But I am planning on doing one on Fridays. Because I do want to be in there, and I'll take a little $50 hit. Half an X oversized. Position it, and when that thing hits, and we hit it correctly, trust me, it's going to be worth it, because that's going to catapult the account. Do I think we can do this? No. I know that we can. And the worst case scenario is that we lose 1K and we try again. But if somebody is helping you with the editing on this and we're putting the stuff out, I will continue to do this every single Sunday, and we're going to go through the trades. Right now, you know what an option is, what it represents, and how it works. It has an expiration of a weekly, a monthly, or further on in time. We're doing tight end times because we're trying to do predictions that people do not expect. When we get this account above $2,000, we're going to do something called debits, spreads. And when we do it, I'm going to teach you how they work. But today I'm not. Because today we're focusing on what we have.
Yeah, we kind of did a challenge account last year too, and even if you lose the $1,000, you'll end up learning something, or there'll be a play in there to make it back. I mean, I don't think I can lose anymore in options. I still haven't gotten to large accounts or big money or anything where I can sell my businesses and just trade options, but I'm pretty much to the point where I can't lose anymore. Like you create these small accounts and you turn them into something big, and then you kind of set money aside and do it again.
You cleared the 1 mil level, you cleared that, which was a big deal for you. So you're and now enough about options that that you can't go out and lose. You're at that place where you have enough understanding, right? Is that what you're trying to say?
No, I still feel like I can take, I could lose it all. That's why I keep my accounts small, and like I've grown them from like 1K to like 20, and then back, and then I'll set that money aside into long-term shares, and then kind of do it again. So I'm to the point where I can't lose in options anymore because I've bought so many shares with the money I've made in options, and so now this time is like the time where it's just going to be all options account.
Exactly. So the whole idea is as you make money, you set money aside. Once we get this to 10K, we're going to take away 3. Once we get it to 20K, we're going to go ahead and take away another 3K, because we'll continue to take away. Once we get to 50K, we're taking away money so that in case we do go to 0, we have now 3 that we can go back and begin with. Can we lose it all? Absolutely, because we're taking high risks. But as we continue to build it, the whole idea is to go and put into stock. And that makes it a lot easier. I mean, if you put into as we did at $101 when we went crazy and bought Tesla stock, it's trading now at 186, and when it gets above 200, that was our whole account. We got rid of everything. You got rid of everything, right? Yeah, and you put it all into Tesla. Now, is this something that your financial advisor is going to tell you is a good idea? No. Just like people were telling me that it was idiotic to do so with Apple back in the past. But if you're doing it controlled and you know what you're doing, you can do it off of profits. And that's the main thing. So the only thing that I wanted to show before we go and sign off is that I did an additional bearish bet. So I did a Tesla bearish bet 185 puts. So if I do believe that we're going to have a snapback or the possibility of a snapback, I chose to buy 185 puts at $2.66. And as I posted in my notes, the thinking behind that is I'm doing it more aggressively in the main accounts. I guess I didn't put the thinking. The main thinking is I do believe that we can have a pullback towards that fib level, and then we can make another $200-300 on that. I would really like to go ahead and attempt to get this account towards that 25K as fast as possible, towards 10K to take 3,000 off, because then we start having less risk. But every week that we're doing it, we're going to show every single trade as we do it. It's tweeted real time on Twitter. You guys are welcome to come to Traders Playground fast before I double the dues again. And the dues are 0 so far, so I can double it a lot, and hopefully you guys can afford it. So that's tradersplayground.com. Come into the chat room, figure out how to trade options, because if I do this and I die tomorrow, because I did fight cancer and I beat cancer, the stuff that I've learned is useless, because people that are traders like me, we contribute nothing to society, except if I can help somebody be able to use this to create some financial stability. And my hope would be that they can go ahead and turn that into additional jobs and do the stuff that they want to do that makes them happy. And I believe that that's it. Do we have anything else that you guys want to contribute or say or thoughts? I know, Dash, you were with in another chat in the past. Oh, looking at Dash is great. Holy shit. Dash, are you? No, this is me. That's I'm assassin. It's like I'm looking through time right now. Do you guys see it? Dash, you have anything to say?
No, man, I'm just really excited to see the journey and how we progress. I think a lot of it for me, learning has been like learning how to manage my own risk and position sizing. I think when you first get into options, it's really easy to just be overwhelmed by all the possibilities of it and quickly blow up your account because you're like, oh, I just made double my position size. The wins are big, but the losses can be even bigger. So learning how to trade properly is pretty important.
Control sizing, right? Control sizing is everything.
Yeah.
I think that that's a good way to end. And that's why I say 1x oversize is $100 for a tiny account. And then when your account starts getting about 25K, go ahead.
Oh, and only increasing it by 50% each time is the one thing that nobody on Wall Street Bets does that. They're all
exactly.
Like you said, they get one trade and then they triple their sizing like after just one trade.
Exactly.
Yeah, the psychology is pretty crazy. You see a price of something go up and you have this instinct to chase it.
Mm-hmm.
Typically it's the wrong move. And then the things that you think are just not going to work out, they typically work out.
Yeah, it's the most uncomfortable trades, right? The most uncomfortable trades are the ones that are the most important. Yeah. Like right now, I'm beginning to go trade bearish on NVIDIA, and everybody thinks that I'm crazy. I get so much negative stuff on Twitter by that, and that's okay. That's when I know I'm onto something. It might go higher. It can go to $1 trillion. I think that it probably will get there, but I have to begin the bearish bets because it's idiotic.
Yeah.
So with that, I think that this is a controlled little thing, and I'm gonna post this whole thing as quickly as possible. And I think that that's a good way for us to go and edit.
Awesome,
dude. That is awesome. That's an awesome bird you got.
And then you got to leave a review for the restaurant, right? You didn't leave a review.
I did.
You did?
Check. I did it literally before we started the podcast. I'm like, I bet you he's got to go to mention in the podcast.
Oh, you're smart.
See?
Detroit pizza ain't that bad though, huh?
No, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad. It was pretty good. I still prefer New York pizza though.
Right. Well, I gotta get going. I'll talk to you guys later.
I'll see you guys later. You guys take care.
So,
And I'll see you
have a
guys
good night.
tomorrow.
Bye.
Adios, everybody. And as always, you guys can always come to tradersplayground.com if it's a very bad looking website because it's very old. But do know that check your junk mail because that's where your confirmation is going to go. And if you have difficulty getting into the room, then our IT guy can help you one at a time to get you in. But usually it works. I'll see you guys. You guys take care. Signing off. Hasta mañana. Or actually until Monday. I think he just froze. There we go. Now I just have to disconnect. Stop recording over here.